Okay, the Walper is, I've owned it for about 2.5 years, and it's a hotel at King and Queen Street, just down the road. It was called the Walper Terrace Hotel. Really amazing history, really fascinating history that went through a pretty long period of decline, or sort of a 10-year, didn't have its best years. And when I came in 2.5 years ago, sort of walk around, it's this building with a huge amount of potential, but not being realized whatsoever, because it was very just run down, no service, sort of nobody cared, I guess. And so that was sort of the first day there, looking around, waking up in a room with sort of a hole in the carpet and hole in the sheet and thinking, shit, what have I done? And then trying to pull it together. My family was involved with the Walper, and my father was going to sell it and get rid of it. From this, sitting in this kind of shabby building, to be honest, it hadn't yet had any work done, and saying, okay, I know this, I've got a concept, I've got a direction I want to go, trying to describe it, but then you're looking around, there's sort of holes here, and things are in really rough shape, and thinking, it will be nice, and Eric and Robin just kind of got that. We talked about what I had in mind, and they seemed to get it, and then it just was easy explanation of the thoughts in my head to translate them into reality with them, certainly compared to the other branding companies who had good ideas, but I didn't feel they got the concept quite as well. So the first thing was to drop Terrace and come up with a new brand. We had this sort of what I think of as like a 1980s Dallas kind of shoulder pad logo with this big swirly 80s writing and this sort of thing swept underneath, and so it was sort of scrapping that and coming up with a logo that at no point in the future of the Walper would people look back and go, oh, that was the 2010s, that era, a really timeless logo for a building that obviously is 120 years old and therefore has seen a lot of different styles. So I wanted a logo that will still hopefully be there in 30 or 40 years. Yeah. We spent the money renovating the hotel, and that's all fine and well, but if you hadn't changed your name and your logo and all the rest of it, then the community wasn't going to know. I was introduced to them by, I can't even remember, somebody suggested I wanted to do an RFP and sort of figure out, not even an RFP, find out who kind of understood what I had in mind. It was my first time going through it, so I guess it all kind of surprised me, to be honest. I'd never done anything like that. I'd always walked into existing brands, and Intercontinental's a big, solid brand. I would have no say in changing that, so I'd never really dealt with branding. So I guess it was all a bit, okay, how does this work? Yeah, every time I look at it, I still like it, which is a good sign, right? You don't want to have buyer's remorse, and I certainly don't. Everything, the ads, the way we've positioned it, I'm very happy with it, and it's sort of months and months and months in the works, and then obviously, as you said, it's never done, and there'll always be tweaks and changes. And I think what we have is a brand message that's consistent with what you get when you walk in. When 3 years ago, the hotel's tagline was a tradition of excellence since 1893. You'd been there 6 years ago. It was no longer excellent. And so to have that as a tagline and then have you people come in and it just doesn't jibe. Whereas our tagline is unique as you are does. The building is unique. It's fascinating. It's got these two big courtyards. Every single room is different. It's got 12-foot ceilings. There's just nothing about it that's a standard hotel. And so that tagline kind of translates into what the experience is when you get there. And so what we've been finding is very positive. People are finding us online, getting there, and it's meeting or exceeding their expectations. And so it's a brand that, yes, it sets a message, but it's not this sort of lofty tradition of excellence. It's a very bold statement, especially when it's not in great, at that point wasn't in great shape. So. Yeah, absolutely. I would recommend Scribblers Club without any question. Yeah, in a heartbeat. I wouldn't go anywhere else, to be honest. I would, whatever I do, I would trust their ability to translate my ideas into a tangible brand and advertising and look and feel that's necessary in this sort of brand-driven world we live in. And so I would say just go in and just talk, really let them understand what you've got in your head. That's where, for me at least, they came in and were able to sort of get that down to ideas that were actually something we could do and execute, and then it's their job to translate that into something that the market wants. So, when you own a business and you're trying to turn it around or start it, or whatever business, you've got all these thoughts that sort of swirl around your head, and it helps to have someone who can take all those thoughts and then sort of say, okay, well, that's great, those 30, but you got to get down to these 4 ideas. And I thought they did that, certainly with my scatterbrainness. They did it pretty well.